From sketch to art prize, come behind the scenes as I share every step of creating Dreamers Haven. Good morning and welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Today's pretty cold where I am in Queensland, Australia. And to be honest, I've been really surprised because it's been about 24 degrees during the day in pretty much the middle of winter. And we've been looking at our winter gear thinking, do we throw it out? Like, what do we do with it? We're not going to need it. And then today it got cold. So at least in the house it's cold. Outside it's much better. But I'm waiting for the sun to sort of warm up my little art corner here. And I'm coming at you from my art desk for now. I've got my hot chocolate ready. Yummy. And my big hoodie and my Ugg boots on to keep warm. So today I'm not going to win a fashion prize, that's for sure. So I'm here today because I want to enter the Bundaberg Art Prize, which is a local art prize. It's a pretty big deal. And I want to push myself to do a really big canvas, 120 by 150 centimeters vertical, which is, it's a pretty big one, and I haven't done one in a while, but I do want to push myself and see if they'll accept my painting. My issue is it's not going to fit on any easel I have because, well, it's pretty big. So I don't really know how to work things out to paint it. Weird problem to have, isn't it? Look, I'm going to go and get it so you can see how big it is. Again, excuse my fashion sense for today. It is cold. Let me get it from the other studio. See? So I'm 164 centimeters. Maybe a little bit less now that I'm getting older. I might just be like hunched up and be only like a meter high by now, like a hobbit. I don't really know. But yeah, it's pretty big. Let me show you a bit more here. There it is. So yeah, it's the practical issue at the moment. I can't really put it on anything that is too deep, like a table, because that's just too far off the wall and I like to be close up when I'm painting. And like I said, easels won't work. And also I try to hang it on the wall in the studio back there, but the wall is the side that's kind of a crappy wall. It's a bit bumpy, so the canvas doesn't sit flat against it. And it doesn't if you have a hook behind anyway, so it kind of like moves a little bit. So yeah, what to do. Meantime, I want to show you what I am planning on painting. And what I've done is take a few of my paintings, a few of the elements from several paintings that I put into one artwork. This is how, basically that's the plan. So I did this on Procreate. And what I'll do is I'll show you how I came up with this. I'll do a little time-lapse video to show you how I came up with this artwork. Got a really good visual of what I'm planning on doing, and if you've seen any of my videos before, you know that things will probably change halfway through. I will tweak things depending on how I feel and how the painting is taking shape, but now that I've got a good visual, then I'm going to create an outline, just a black simple outline of the whole thing, so I can transfer that onto my canvas. So I've now transferred my outline onto my canvas. It was quite a pain. I won't go into details, but it turns out that my old easel is actually the man for the job. What I've done is that I removed the top part that holds the canvas from the top. So I took that out, which gives me more height, obviously. And the only issue is that it's a little bit wobbly side to side because of the width of the canvas, but it is something it can hold, that can hold the whole thing, and I think I should be able to manage with that. We'll see how we go. So while it's taken like 5 minutes to explain all this to you and to show you the outlines and how I came up with the design and all that, it actually took, a couple of weeks of back and forth and faffing about and procrastinating and all that before getting to this result. So anyway, I'm gonna have some lunch and then I think I'll start on this afterwards. Whew. Good morning. Of course, I had to change my mind on the design. I could not sleep last night very well. Anyway, I was awake and I was thinking of the painting. If you're an artist, you know what it's like. And I was thinking that I'm not sure I like the really big trees. Originally, I was thinking of doing a painting that sort of invited you in because the size is quite large, so it makes you want to kind of connect with the piece in front of you. But now I'm thinking that it would look a lot better if it had more trees so I can put more details in this painting. So I think I'm gonna change the design. Yay, I don't like doing this, but it's best to do it now before I carry on and then decide that I should have done it earlier. So let's do that. Hello again. Well, it's been 2 days since I last spoke to you and since I covered up some of the design. And let me tell you, this painting is kicking my butt. I've had trouble coming up with the design. I've done many things back and forth over the last 2 days, trying to get what I want to represent on this painting and work out what I did not like. And I think the main reason was that I wanted more depth. This is a big painting. I want to be able to put more stuff on there and just make it feel like there's more distance into this landscape. Hopefully that makes sense. So I've changed the design, like I mentioned. I've got my trusty iPad there to keep as a reference. And I'm going to do a basic color blocking, just, so we can get a bit of a plan once again. All right, let's get back to it. So a little update. I've been painting off camera because I was getting a little bit stressed with the camera and just, having to think about other things than the painting. So I sort of gave up a bit on that. And I've started painting big trees here on the left as well as big trees on the right. This bushy area is, coming along. I think I'm almost there. I might do a few more highlights towards the end of the painting. I've got a few more trees in the back here, some fluffy clouds. I still have some work to do on the sky. And I've started working on little bushes of flowers. Again, it's not finished. I'm just trying to find my way. And then I will keep you updated, obviously, a little bit further along. So I've been growing flowers much better than I do in the backyard, that's for sure. So here's a little close-up so far where I'm at. And there will be more flowers coming, don't you worry. So you're probably wondering why I've left this big pinkish spot on my painting all this time. Well, it was actually meant to be a bit of a placeholder for a pink tree that I want to add as a feature in the painting. I've decided, of course, to change things, it's becoming a habit around here. But I want to change the shape of the tree to, it wasn't going to be this round, obviously, but I wanted to make it a little bit more organic, and branches will come out a bit this way. That's the plan anyway. And at the moment, this pink kind of patch is really bugging me because, it's just like a big blob, and I need to kind of cover that up so I can sort of see forward and move past it, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is sort of paint over it. I'm just going to add some more greens. At the moment I painted around it, but I'm going to add some more greens and sort of blend in this blob a little bit. It won't be completely. And I may even have to paint it white as well, just to make sure that the colors of the tree I want to put on top are true to life and not sort of muddied up by the colors behind it. So I'm just going to focus on that for now, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I've taken the blob, we're going to call it, to a less distracting color. It's still a bit distracting, obviously, but it's a bit better. Now it looks a little bit purplish blue because I had magenta below, and I've added phthalo blue and phthalo green, which are transparent colors. So blue and purple and pink, will make purple, and same with the green. Anyway, it's a bit funny, but we'll get there. What I wanted to explain a little bit more in detail is that the tree I want to put on top will be using this magenta color, and which is quinacridone magenta, and that is a transparent color. So same thing, if I add transparent magenta on top of this, then it's going to turn into a purple. So I will need to put some white behind it to make sure that the magenta is not absorbed by the darker color underneath. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, leave me a comment below and I'll try to explain it a bit more. But this is why I was talking about maybe having to take this back to a bit more of a white, ideally a white color. That might be a bit weird, I don't know. I think I'll just go for it and add a bit more of the grasses and the bushes and stuff like that, just to blend things a bit more so I can move forward. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Okay, so I've taken things back to mostly white, and you might think, you crazy girl, why don't you just go to white straight away? Would have saved you time and money in paint. Well, there is a reason, and the simple reason is that I just wasn't completely sure I want to take such a drastic step. So I just, painted a bit more of a darker color first, and then a little bit of the white, and then I thought, all right, let's just go for it. So I just painted the whole thing white. Now, I can't say that it's not just as distracting as the pink blob, but I did need the white underneath to make the tree that's going to be on top more vibrant. So I guess now I have no other choice but to start with that tree. Now let's get going. Okay, the tree is in place. Wasn't an easy task. I was just a bit sort of nervous going over existing areas that I've already painted, and thinking hopefully I don't ruin anything. But I have to keep reminding myself that it's just paint after all. I hope you know what I mean. It's just that feeling. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna ruin it. I shouldn't do this. And in the end, we just have to go like, no, let's just do it. no fear. So, like I said, the tree's in place, at least just the branches and the trunk and the general layout. So now I'm going to start working on the foliage, and I'm not going to film this part, sorry, I really apologize. I just really want to focus on what I'm doing and not thinking too much of the camera and angles and talking, so I just don't want to mess this up. I hope you understand. Thanks. Meow. So I'm back and I think I'm getting there finally. When I said no fear before and I tried to remind me no fear, it doesn't mean that I'm not scared, I am. I just try to push through and not think about bad things. So now I can move on a little bit more into the foreground. Hopefully it's not too reflecting, a little bit. But yeah, so this section here I have to do some work with, and also this section down there. Hopefully you can see a bit better. So I'm still a bit undecided what I'm going to do, different ideas. I think I will brighten up this section here on the front so it pops out a little bit more, and maybe put some flowers around this section here and there. I'm not completely sure yet. I do like the sort of simplicity of the foreground because there's so much going on around here. So yeah, a bit more thinking, probably more hours trying to, work this out on the iPad, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed that I'm not going to spend more weeks on the bottom.